Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, I'm on the right show this time.
Yeah, thankfully, geez, it can get confusing sometimes.
I showed up to Friday and I thought we were on book club, but now we're actually on book club, so it's good. We're finally
glad that you made it today.
Yeah, welcome everyone to Business Building Book Club. I'm your host, Molly from Visibility Hacking Studios, and as per usual, I have two of my very favorite morning friends. We have Lefty, the Video Jedi, and Mark, the Mental Marketer, with us. And we're diving back in, like we are hardcore diving in head first into Pat Flynn's incredible book, and I'm saying that already based on what I've read, Superfans. And this book is really cool because check out the title, check out the cover. I know, don't judge a book by its cover, but let's start.
No, it actually has
followers crossed out, subscribers crossed out, customers crossed out. There are so many of those terms that we kind of bounce around about. How do we describe our audience? How do we describe the people we're creating our content for? We can get super nitty gritty and talk about where they are in the funnel of when it comes to sales and stuff. But long before that, Pat Flynn is inviting us to realize there is so much more that happens before we talk about that part of that journey. And so we've crossed out all of these words because they are not relevant. What is most important is serving your audience as your super fans. These are the people, as he says, who will drive 200 miles or 200 kilometers away to go see your show. These are the people who are going to buy everything that you put out there.
Everything.
And so with that, we're going to dive into part 1 today, where we are learning how to turn our casual audience into an active audience. And this was the linchpin for me. This was the linchpin. So before we dive into all of that, I need to know how my guys are doing. So Mark, how are you doing this morning?
How am I doing? Hey, I actually did you notice? I got a haircut.
I'm going for one today, though. So,
oh, you are cutting it like your cut last time.
Yes. I cannot let the sides grow again. So I'm actually gonna go shorter.
Oh wow, that's quick. It's like quick, 2 weeks. Doing awesome. I am a super fan of Superfans. I think you guys know. I think Pat Flynn practices what he preaches. It's not just what we're learning in this book that's been pretty eye-opening. I know, throughout the week, Lefty just sends a shout out saying this chapter is so good. And I think you guys know that last week, at the episode last week, I actually tweeted out our business building book club on the old Twitter. Thanks to Gary V. I'm on Twitter. And lo and behold, none other than the Pat Flynn himself retweets the tweet of us to over hundreds of thousands of fans. That was oh shucks. Okay, my screen went black there for a second. Did you lose me? I'm still here, right?
Still there. You're still there.
Okay. All right. Tweeted out hundreds of fans with his page. And I'm not sure if it was, you know how sometimes you have okay, so he has the SPI podcast, right? So we know that that's the Smart Passive Income. But there was another account on Twitter, SPI Team, the SPI Team. So I don't know if it's I don't know if it's related to him or not, because you know how sometimes fans make these pages. But I got we got shouted out by none other than Pat Flynn himself. So he knows us now. What are we going to do with that information?
That's huge. That's huge. Big shout out to Pat Flynn. Like this book, and you guys know I've been talking about Superfans for a while now. Like I've been actually talking about what it takes to build them because I was in an industry that required them. Now I was no Backstreet Boy, but I mean I still, was entertaining thousands of people week in and week out. And it's crazy because it's bringing me back, like certain things that he's saying are bringing me back to be like, okay, I remember doing certain things like this, but then there's other like aha moments where I was like, damn, I didn't even think of that. And it's like every page, and it's great that they're like super short, like segments, but I was there's things in here that I'm just blowing my mind because I was like, if only I knew that 10, 15 years ago, right? Outside of the things that he mentions that I already did know. It's incredible so far. Like I just can't, I wish I could just read this whole thing right now.
Backstreet Boys. Molly, I can't hear you. Molly.
If you guys don't know the Backstreet Boys reference, it's a story that carries through the whole book, where Pat Flynn talks about how his aha moment for realizing the power of superfans when his wife shares with him her deepest secret, hidden in the back of a closet, in a box, probably covered in a little bit of dust, is all of her Backstreet Boys memorabilia that to this day she still carries with her. And so that's the power of superfans. That is the longevity of the messages we're sharing. And so why not just dive into it?
Let's go.
We divided the book, or the book is divided into different sections, and we're going to read each section, each part. So the chapters within each section are all relating to a certain theme, a certain step in this process. And so first, we have to introduce you to the pyramid. So this is our Superfans pyramid. So at the very bottom, we have our casual viewers, then we have active viewers, connected, and then super fans. So with that, we are going to start at the very bottom of the pyramid, the largest part of the pyramid, and that is our casual viewers, people who are just stopping by, they're seeing your content, but they haven't yet committed. So I love this. Let me just first share the chapter titles in this section, just so you guys get a little bit of, he's a fantastic writer. So chapter 1 is learning the lyrics. This one, love it. Chapter 2 is breaking the ice. Chapter 3 is creating quick wins. Chapter 4 is driving the DeLorean. And chapter 5 is returning every handshake. So without further ado, let's dive into learning the lyrics. Why don't we?
It's honestly like, it's a great, in my opinion, it's a great feeling when you just know the lyrics to a song. Like, you just listen, you practice, you do this. Like, I'll give you guys an even deeper example. Like, Greek is a super hard language to learn. And I literally have helped people learn Greek just by picking 4 or 5 songs and telling them, learn how to pronunciate, learn how to learn the lyrics to this song, and then you'll start to understand what the words are and how to form sentences. And I've helped like a couple people actually learn how to speak Greek just by listening to like a couple Greek songs. So it's super powerful, even though he's not referencing it in that way. I just wanted to share like how powerful lyrics can really be.
Well, we know, like, you've ever been to a concert or an event or something where everyone is singing the same song. Like, everyone's going to Taylor Swift right now. So all of my social feed is filled up with people at Taylor Swift, and they're all singing the same song. It doesn't matter how good your voice is or how bad your voice is. Everyone is amplifying the same message. It's literally from a psychological perspective, when everyone in the room is literally singing the same song, it does something to our brains that makes us feel deeply connected to the people around us. We like doing this. But in the book, learning the lyrics is about understanding the words that your audience uses to describe themselves, their pain points, their struggles, the obstacles they're facing, their dreams and ambitions. And when you go through the activities, the other cool thing about this book is he gives us examples, he gives us actionable steps. So when you actually go through this process of learning to listen to your people, oh my goodness, it's like you just hold up a mirror. Instead of holding up a billboard that you took so long to try and craft, you literally just hold up a mirror and people are like, I see myself, I'm coming to you. It's so cool.
Well, he says it right here. If you can define the problem better than your target customer, they will automatically assume you have the solution.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. You know, one of the biggest takeaways when I think when I first opened up this chapter, I was thinking about okay, learn the lyrics meant to actually just repeat back what the customer was saying, but I don't think that's what I kind of took away from the chapter. That quote you just said, Lefty, is know it better than your customer. And that was a quote actually from J. Abraham, I think. Yeah, that was a J. Abraham quote. So I think about songs that have touched me throughout the years, songs that I remember, and songs seem to be the soundtrack to your life. But I don't think those soundtracks were my words, but the singer was able to communicate it in a way better than I could describe my situation. You know, better than I could describe my situation. And the song that he mentioned in here, come on, guys, quit playing games with my heart.
Yeah. Oh, baby.
It wouldn't be if we didn't sing a lyric here.
What a classic. Honestly, oh my God. But like this line stood out to me because it's like, why do we seek any professional help, right? Why do we go to a doctor? Because they know better. Why do we go to a lawyer when we're in trouble? Because they know better. A mechanic, anything. It's because they know better, right? So, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to know everything in order to know better, but you have to at least showcase yourself in a way that if I'm telling you I have a problem, you have to find a way to say those exact 3 words better than I can say them in order to be like, oh my God, he gets me, or she gets me, right? That's what he's talking about. Everybody at the same time, like we live in a world where the online community is growing and growing and growing and growing. And what we're slowly starting to see with what happens in any saturated market is everybody just is doing the same exact thing, and they are, and we get a lot of copycats, right? And not to say that that's a bad thing, because everybody has to start out to find their voice in order to move away from the copycat status. But when you are in that copycat phase, that's the best way to figure out, how does somebody say I have a problem, and how can you switch it up? And that's it.
Yes. In here, when he talked about knowing a song. He talked about knowing a song, and he talked about the experience that he talked with his wife. And when did she really go from casual to active? When was that moment she went from casual to active?
Oh, that was huge.
And it came in that time when she'd heard the songs before, but she didn't know the lyrics. She'd heard the songs before, and that's that bottom rung. But when she was going through a breakup, and Backstreet Boys were like the breakup tunes. It was the tune that you turn on when you're in the bed, reeling from a heartbreak, and Nick, blonde hair, was going to just be there for you to to comfort you and say, "Quit playing games with my heart," okay? But it was that point when she went from just casual listener to an active participant, because they learned the lyrics and they talked directly to her. And that was a powerful point that I got from just this one part of this, the 5-part series. I say series.
And he refers to that moment as the moment of activation. So when we think about putting out all of that content out there that we put out, we're really planting the seeds for those moments to happen. We don't know what's going on in our customers' lives. We can make educated guesses about what's happening. We can build a customer persona and kind of have generalizations about what's going on in their lives. But it's those moments where they are connecting with the content we're putting out there. So if we look back to last book, jab, 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 right hook, it's all of those jabs we're putting out there that are giving them those moments to connect with us. They're not having those emotional moments of activation because we've showed them an offer. We're having those moments of activation because of relatability, because the message is resonating. And I thought that was really powerful too.
And keep in mind too, guys, when you're trying to build super fans are not like, if you have someone on Instagram, for example, and let's just use the number of 100,000. If you have 100,000 followers on Instagram, that's not 100,000 super fans.
No.
Right? There might be 2,000 people that actually do everything that you do, that fall on your every word that you say. And that's who you want to build into super fans, right? You have a broad spectrum of audience that you find those who you constantly care a lot about nurturing and talking with and just seeing how their day is going or whatever the case might be. And then it's like a small percentage of those people are going to just breathe everything that you do. So don't look at every person being a super fan, because that's not what it is. It's just having that small teeny number, and the prime number of super fans is 1,000.
1,000. I would call this a super fan funnel. A super fan funnel.
It is.
He said, what he says, I think maybe he didn't say it in this learn the lyrics part, but when they go from casual to active is when they join your list, when they opt in, when they subscribe. So they're not super fans yet, but no. maybe they have come across you, just like you've heard the song a few times, but you weren't in that state where the message really resonated with you, or I think what happened with his wife was, after she was going through this, then she started listening to the words. And because before it was one of those, you know how sometimes you hear a song and you're asked to say the lyrics and you're like, I'm down my mind that but
yeah.
and you don't know what the lyrics are. You like the beat.
Yeah.
As a DJ, Lefty, you like the beat, and there's something about it. Maybe it was the melody that caught your attention.
Yeah.
So, or maybe it was just like, ooh, I like that. And then you go further, and then oh man, okay. And then that's just first step. That's just taking them from one step.
But talking about breakups, because she went through a breakup, and that's how that activation process happened, right? And
what breakup are your customers going through?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But I just think it's also funny that anytime, like, have you ever noticed that, like, when you're happy, when everything is going good, like, you could just turn on the radio and whatever's on the radio, just whatever's on the radio. But for some reason, when something dark and sad and bad and cringy is happening in your life, they just know how to play the right songs at the right time. And like, you just sit there and you feel at that moment that specific song or that specific set of songs, because sometimes they play a couple back to back and you're just sitting there sobbing in your car and you're like, oh my God, they did this for me today. But I mean, like, think of how you're putting out your message. You got to think of putting out your message as if, like Mark just said, all your customers are going through a bad breakup and you're there to curate and craft messaging or songs that speak to the audience at that time, that make them go like, oh my God, that Facebook post was for me, while they're sitting there crying in their car. And that's how you hit the activation point. That should just, Molly, we should just put that in our intro, just me going,
It might drive people away. So the coolest part about this book is not only does Pat share these great pieces of information, these aha moments, but he also teaches us how to do it. So let me show you guys. He says, I always pay careful attention to the language people use in their emails, in their Facebook, on Instagram, and in person, so that he can utilize that language himself. Once in a while, I even reach out to 10 people on my email list to have an open conversation about what they're dealing with in their own business and how I can better serve them. Paying attention to what my customers are saying is in these different ways gives me incredible, valuable information about what they need and how they describe those needs. Thought that was brilliant.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was like, okay, let me check my email now.
Yeah.
Because that was interesting how he put that in the book. I think that was one of those that was a subliminal message he put there. Because he wants you to actually read the book, and now he wants to let you know, because more than likely, are you all on his email list?
Yep.
Are you, Lefty?
Yeah.
Signed up for that the accompanying online course, and now I'm receiving emails, and to hear him say that in the book makes me want to check my emails now. Am I one of the lucky 10? Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we read about that later on in the book.
Oh, I bet. So he says, he gives us a few different methods of how to do this. So first one, if you don't have followers at all, you go through your social media, engage with groups, do things like that. The second one is the traditional ask campaign that we've known about from Mr. Ryan Levesque, which is literally ask your people what they're struggling with. What is their biggest struggle? Send that out in an email. Do what Steve Larson does and create an entire funnel around an ask campaign. But literally just ask your people what they're struggling with. Mm-hmm. And then, here's a good one. When you follow up, so you ask, like, generally, what are you struggling with? Then follow up with their answers and follow up with questions like, what kinds of solutions have you tried so far? If you had a magic wand to solve this challenge, what would things look like for you? So really diving into that follow up. And then the third method is have actual conversations with people. What? In real life or online, just have conversations with each other. Did you guys do your homework? Your chapter 1 homework?
I'm going to start today.
Aha. So this book gives us exercises, sets the aha moment, gives us examples of how to accomplish this and now gives us actual homework. So
I love exercises. Like
I love it.
I was so drawn in with the YouTube formula, right? When like at the end it was like, here, do these 3 things, and then all of a sudden I'm flipping pages and I see exercises, and I'm like,
Yay! So step 1 is to choose at least one of the methods we talked about and find 5 key phrases that your audience use to describe their problems. Did you guys do, Mark, did you do this?
I did not get to the exercise, but hey, let's do it now.
I'm down to do a live exercise. Yeah.
Well, we have so many more chapters to get through. Let's just leave our homework and we'll take it up next week.
All right. Done.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
we're gonna skip
I was ready.
the exercises for now, but we're gonna do them. We're gonna take up our homework next week. So chapter 2,
Yes.
break the ice.
Hey, look at
And-
that. You see that right there? That's
Yeah,
peeking-
you got one.
You see what's peeking out the side?
I love it. Good choice and great color choice.
What? Hey, by the way, what were the results of the poll
Ooh.
last week?
It was 50-50. Exactly
Oh,
50-50. Yeah, so half of you rate in your books and the other half of you don't. But I'm suspicious. We're going to redo this poll in a few months and see. So chapter 2 is about breaking the ice. And in my other life, when I'm not running a book club, I teach outdoor education. And so having those icebreakers is really vital to the success of any program I run, because I take a group of complete strangers, or at least strangers to me, and I have to almost instantly put them in a state where they know me, they like me, and they trust me enough to put them into situations what they might find a little bit dangerous, like climbing 30, 40 feet in the air or something like that, or engaging in team building exercises that maybe they feel a little bit awkward walking into. So how do you instantly build that know, like, and trust factor? Well, it starts with breaking the ice. And so I really, as someone who engages in ice breaking throughout all of my days, I really appreciated having someone spell it out this simply, because it's part of this relationship building process that we forget about a lot. So in this chapter, he says things like, let's talk about breaking the ice. The trick here is, how do you actually implement this? Share stuff about yourself that you'd share with your friends.
Yeah.
Say you're reading a good book. If it's something in your personality to share about the books that you're reading, then share about the books that you're reading. If you're part of a fantastic book club, you should share about the book club you're in. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If it's within your personality and within your brand's personality to share what you're eating, then share what you're eating. It's about breaking the ice, creating those little moments for your audience to resonate with and to start that conversation. What do you think, Lefty?
Yeah, I mean, I love icebreakers. Like, you definitely gotta start somewhere. And like the last thing that anybody, like, I'm a different type of person. Like I would, and I think I've mentioned this before, where it's like, you get those cold DMs where the person just goes right in for the pitch slap, but you want to be able to, and I'm okay with those, because I'd rather people just be honest and do whatever it is that they're trying to do before trying to be my friend or my fake friend, right? But speaking, but if somebody genuinely truly wants to get to know you, you can actually feel that sincerity, right? You can kind of pinpoint it in the messaging, where it's like somebody's truly there to just try and be your friend, instead of trying to pitch you a product or a service a couple days down the road, right? Like when I speak to people and I'm just having casual conversation and saying hey, what's up, and then like, oh, how's your dog, and oh, how was your Mother's Day weekend, what did your kids get you, blah blah blah, just having like a chat that I would have with anybody. It also makes the time of when I'm gonna go and offer my service, for example, it makes it natural. It doesn't make it like, oh my God, I'm about to, pitch somebody and they're probably going to take it the wrong way or whatever the case might be. And 9 times out of 10, when you're just there to be friends with somebody, they're already behind the scenes doing their own research on you, or you don't even have to say anything. It could literally just be like, hey, they're the ones that end up asking you about the service. They end up asking you if you have anything new that you're offering and whatever the case might be. And that actually, that actually happened to me yesterday, right? I was in a group call, and 2 of us just happened to be, I guess, nerds. Like, I don't know how else to call it. I saw some things in his background and he saw my Nerf guns in my background. And then we, like, immediately he was just like, I know this call is ending, but Lefty, here's my personal Zoom link. We have to talk right now. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. I have a couple minutes. So we jumped on each other's Zoom calls, and literally for probably 15 minutes, we were just fanboying. We were just like, oh, this is my toy. Oh, that's my toy. Oh, I have this Spider-Man guy. Oh, I have this lightsaber. And then he went off to show me that he has a playroom. And this playroom is, I think, 300 or 400 square feet. And it's an entire D&D set. For those of you who don't know D&D, it's Dungeons and Dragons, but it's a full world that he built out of styrofoam and characters and fake grass. But 300 square feet, guys, that's like probably 20 feet by 30 feet or something like that. Like, it's a big room, and it's all dedicated to toys. He has X-Wings and Death Stars hanging from the ceiling. Like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Does he live close to you?
No, he's in the States.
Are you guys going to have sleepovers?
I literally said to him, I go, we should call each other's moms and arrange a play date.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then it was just nuts. Like it just happened that, this is how natural connections happen. Right. And this is what I always tell people, and what I always advise people is, like, showcase your personality and your background. Cause, like, ditch the virtual backgrounds, ditch the blurry backgrounds. People want to observe and just see what's around you and see the person behind the call, right? And if I just had one of those, crummy looking virtual backgrounds, it probably would have never led to the conversation that I had yesterday, right? And honestly, it was just so crazy. And now I have a new friend that is potentially going to be a super fan. I mean, I'm a super fan of his, and I'm sure he's going to be a super fan of mine.
Yeah, it's great. To me, I don't know. I find that a lot of people struggle with this, and want to be seen on camera. Some people don't want to be seen on camera, and then if they're seen on camera, or if they want to start this online business and start to grow an audience, they're not wanting to. Okay, do I have to communicate with them, or it's tough for them. So this, I think, is something that people struggle with a lot. When I think about breaking the ice, I think that naturally we want to connect with other people. But the problem comes with, what do I talk about? How do I approach them? What do I say? How do people have conversations that lead to deeper connections? And I can tell you one way is not talking about the weather. Talking about the weather is not going to get a deep conversation. It's going to lead to something boring. But breaking the ice, and what really stood out to me in this chapter was when he said, the quote was, maybe you're enjoying a great breakfast from Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. I know Roscoe's, and that hit me right here. And I love Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. What breaking the ice is being open about yourself and what you're doing and finding that common ground, finding that thing that you have in common. It could be something as simple as the environment. It could be one thing that I love with my audience, and you'll find this on social media. When you say something like, what country are you from? What city or state? And people love to talk about, something that is that they're connected with. Yeah. And when you can express where you're at, it might be where you're at. I might talk about I might connect with some people in the United States. I might connect with some people that are in Texas. And then I might even connect with people in, my city. And then I connect with people in North America. But it's that common ground that we have that we can, connect in some way.
Yeah, no, I love the question about like, where are you located, right? Or like, what's your background? Because like, it's made so many awesome conversation starters. Like, oh yeah, like my background's Greek, right? Oh, I've always had Greece on my bucket list. And it's like, well, why is it still on your bucket list? Why haven't you gone? You're crazy.
Or something like, what's a Greek dessert?
One that you guys would probably know is tiramisu. Baklava, yeah.
So
baklava would probably be the one, yeah.
So if I were to say something like,
by the way.
I'll say something like, Nico's makes the best baklava.
And I'd be like, you're crazy, man. No way. What? My mom makes the best baklava. No, but it's true. Like, just like you find different things out from just asking like the right question. And guys, there's so many websites that if you have trouble figuring this thing out on your own, there's websites where you can literally find like 250 of the best ice-breaking questions, right?
Yeah.
And just go through them and pick a couple ones out that also resonate with you and think that your audience would enjoy too, right? I mean, heck, you don't even have to go to a website if you don't want. I mean, we live in the world of Chat GPT. Like, ask Chat to give you like 20 knock jokes or whatever the case might be, right? Just anything that, like, I guess what I noticed, like, I'll tell you guys something. I was afraid, even though people know that I'm funny and that like I have a humorous side and whatnot, coming from that corporate 9 to 5 and coming from the business world, and then also coming into a world where I'm speaking to people that are a lot higher ranked than I am, right? I had that fear of like, oh my God, if I say something wrong or if I'm not prim and proper, this 9-figure individual is never going to speak to me, that they're just going to brush me off, because I had this 9 to 5 fear. I had this corporate America like fear in me that everyone is in like a digital suit,
Yep.
And
a digital suit.
Yeah, it's what it is. And then I ended up, and then one day I remember just speaking to my wife, and I slowly just started taking stabs at stereotypes, taking stabs at, not individuals, but career paths, right? And then I started realizing that I was like, wow, I go, people actually appreciate and enjoy the jokes that I have to say. And I'm getting comments on them, and I'm actually booking more calls too because of it. And
You
it's
are
only
funny
when I
a
just,
little bit.
what?
I said, you are funny A little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. You're probably scrolling through your feed going, oh, this ass clown again.
But no, you really make some funny little anecdotes there about why are you missing out on your Mother's Day gift? Why not throw him a VSL?
Yeah. I mean, I just, everybody's hearing the same thing every day in and day out, right? So I guess the point that I'm trying to make is like, don't be afraid to showcase your personality, because you never know who's going to be out there. Like, one thing that I was also a little shy about, and something that I kind of wanted to keep to myself, was because, I'm a wrestling fan, right? And then all of a sudden I'm just like, oh no, like, I'm not going to showcase that I like WWE or anything like that, because I didn't think people even cared about that stuff anymore. And then it was crazy to find out how many entrepreneurs, how many other coaches love WWE, where it ended up turning into starting like an Instagram group where we literally just meet up once a month and just talk smack while we're watching pay-per-views. Like, it's been incredible. Like, this is how the super fandom starts. It's just like, connect with things that you like, that you might feel other people might not like, but they really do.
Yeah. He points out here one thing. He says, bottom of page 50, remember, what you put out, you're going to attract. And if you choose to break the ice, it needs to be authentic, because if you pretend to be something or someone else, you're going to risk being called out on it too.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the next chapter, because we love to chat. So let's do this one super quick. This chapter is all about quick wins.
We talk a lot about this.
We talk a lot about this. Giving people challenges, utilizing those first moments of connection to really get them those wins. So he talks about having a 100-day challenge or 100 email challenge. He has utilizes those first couple emails when people subscribe to his email list as a way of giving people actionable steps so that they can get quick wins, because spoiler alert, the following chapter is all about driving the DeLorean. It's all about painting that picture of what the ideal future would be if they chose you, as well as highlighting what it would look like if they don't.
Yeah.
Exactly. So combining those two together, what are your thoughts, Mark?
Quick wins. What I took away from the quick wins was quick wins doesn't have to be elaborate. The example that he gave with the one guy that he called it an edgy blog, and he said that, give me 10 minutes and I'm going to show you how to save thousands of dollars, right? Kind of a general statement. And then it was 3 steps. Call your cable company. Here's a script to negotiate a lower monthly rate. Enjoy the extra money. That wasn't complicated. It wasn't a 15 step, or it wasn't 30 days. It was a simple 10-minute call. So I think when you're thinking about a quick win, think of something that can take 10 minutes to complete. Yeah. And that's gonna make a significant impact to this person. And that was on the quick wins. On the drive the DeLorean, I was really I was excited to say, what does he mean by driving the DeLorean, right? What does he mean by that? And then it's talking about Back to the Future, and the DeLorean. Back to the Future was the time machine, and it was that ability to future and see the future, and you need to DeLorean them and let them what it looks like in the future, working with you, and if they don't work with you, it's of course it's language we've heard before. We've heard before about communicating, but in here he talked about how it's even more powerful when you use testimonials. And I think we are. If you don't know the power of testimonials, then it's yeah.
You're missing out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
One thing I did notice about this book is that well, he goes into talking about talking to the subscribers on your email list, but I think it's a particular market that would understand what he means by going in your subscriber base and already having an email list. I thought that was kind of left out. And I said, there's an opportunity there to really explain what that means. I mean, we understand it because we're really marketing and we're out there, but for the casual person that may not understand it, I thought it might kind of have left that out there.
What are your thoughts, Lefty?
Yeah, well, in terms of the quick wins, right? I mean, everybody just looks at it like, they look at it, oh, I'm not doing anything substantial, for example, right? Because they feel like, oh, yay, okay, cool, I made a connection, but it wasn't a money day, right? Because everyone is about, I need to make the dollars, right? That's all the people are thinking about. But if you can start looking at these small wins in terms of building muscle memory, right? Because that's what it is. It's muscle memory. You have a win that could potentially snowball effect into another win, into another win, into another win. But the wins, for those who have multiple quick wins a week or a month, you'll slowly start to see a pattern that it's not linear, like it goes up, like there's like a trajectory to the wins, right? One win might be $1, the next win might be $2, but then all of a sudden the third win is like $50, and you're just like, holy crap, what a jump, and then in terms of like the DeLorean, yeah, Mark said it best. Like, it's a question that we see all the time when we're on these calls. Like, what would life be if we worked together? What would life be like if we didn't work together? Right? So it's the common questions are good, and it really makes people think. It makes people be like, okay, well, if we didn't work together, this is, I'd probably take a little bit longer for me to grow my business, but I think it'll be blah blah blah, you know what I mean? See, the one question that I ask everybody that gets on a call with me now is not what would life look like? What would you be in, like, how would you be in the future? I now ask, if we do this and you go completely viral, are you ready for that? Do you have the systems in place to handle something like that? It's not about me. It's not about me and like, oh, hire me and what would your life look like 6 months from now? It's, if I create this VSL for you and back it up with this funnel, and somehow, some way, in a perfect world, we have 100,000 customers come through your door, can you handle that level of scalability? Because if you can't, then we probably should start somewhere else or not start at all, right? That's how I position that question, because as we know, on this beautiful world of social media, anything can happen at any moment, which is a perfect example where I put up a video about interest-based algorithms versus social-based algorithms months ago. I think it was in October. I remember being at Canadian Tire, which is like a Home Depot-ish, and I swear to God, my phone kept vibrating, and I was like, who the hell is calling me right now? And I pick up the phone, and it's just notification after notification after notification of like, comment, and I couldn't touch my phone for an hour. 1 hour went by, and I had like 23,000 views and on that video. And it was insane. And that's kind of like, I wasn't ready for that. I was like, holy crap, I'm just thinking I'm getting a phone call because of how often my phone was vibrating. So yeah, the DeLorean is like, can you handle that? Can you handle the level of whoever you're hiring is going to give you, if they're able to give you that kind of success? That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
I agree. And because we only have 5 minutes left, let's wrap up by talking about the final chapter. And
the DeLorean.
So we are finally on. Oh geez, all of my pages are falling apart. Returning every handshake.
Yes,
this is
and kiss every baby.
Kiss every baby. My big takeaway from this chapter, if I had to summarize it into one, really comes from the exercise, the first exercise, where he invites us to go through all of our communication channels and check for unresponded messages. I know I am 100% guilty of that, so that is going to be my biggest transformation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We all know about my thousands of emails in my inbox. Yeah.
I read that and I said, oh no. That could be a while.
So Mark, what were your thoughts on that chapter?
It's just make sure to respond to everyone, and go back and actually I think I made a mistake. I've made mistakes before, and I'll just talk about it. I was I would, as one of my friends would say to me, stop screening your calls, Mark. I would, remember before, okay, I'm old school. So there was a time when the phone rang and you didn't have the option to look, see who it was, and then make a decision on whether you were going to respond or not. You just answered the phone. But since caller ID and knowing who is calling, I've learned this habit of looking at who's calling and deciding whether I want to answer or not, screening my calls.
Yeah.
And a friend told me, stop screening your calls. And coming online, I was maybe making some judgments about people, and whether I would respond to them based on, certain factors of, I'm not going to talk to this person. They're just going to be wasting my time. Until one time I said, you know what? I'm going to let them into my Facebook group. I'm going to respond to them. And that person ended up buying over thousands of dollars of products from me. And I said to myself, if I don't answer these messages, or if I make these assumptions about people, and if I screen people, then I could be losing out on lots of money or lots of opportunity. So I had to check myself. Because when you're out there on social media, okay, is it possible to respond to all the messages sometimes? Well, I know, Lefty, you're a Nazi when it comes to answering messages, though.
Well, yeah, like one thing. Well, first of all, to go back on what you said, and I'm sure this piece of advice can everybody can hear it and take it in. My wife's favorite line to me, because I have a bad habit of doing this sometimes, she says, assuming only makes an ass out of you. And yeah. So I do my best to stop assuming. Okay. Yeah. Because again, it's very simple to judge based on first looks, appearance, Sometimes it could even be like physical appearance, because we don't find somebody specifically like subliminally attractive, so we just won't message them. You know what I mean? There's so many factors that so many sparks that go on in the human brain when it comes to having that first bit of interaction. And yeah, okay, sometimes you can get on a call with somebody and it ends up being a complete dud. But the way I started to view it, because I know everybody that's in my circle and other people who have mentored me, you got to be mindful of your time and this and that. And I get it. But you never know, just because they're not flashy, because hey, there's some millionaires that just want to show up in garbage bags and scrubby, ripped up clothes, right? So I never judge a person by anything, because that person can end up being my ideal customer, like it happened to you, Mark, right?
Hold on. You don't judge your books by their covers?
Oh no. Oh my. No, you should not do that.
Unless it's this cover.
Hey, no, but yeah. So like, yes, you're right. I'm a little bit OCD, and the reason why I'm OCD is because I don't have a comments OCD. What I actually have is a notification OCD.
Yep.
I can't stand seeing my phone. Like I'll show you guys my screen, okay? And that's just because I have emails in here that or email accounts that I don't use. But look at this right here. Okay, I don't know if you could see it.
Oh, there's
right
a
there.
whole row of notifications, and one is 3 digits.
That bothers
me. Facebook and LinkedIn.
So I have 3 for Facebook, which is fine, 6 for LinkedIn, which is fine, but 182 unread emails. That bothers me. And believe me, I'm not going to read all of them, because some of them is just spam and junk and promotions and whatnot. But the point is because I can't see the notifications, which plays in my favor. Everyone's like, oh my God, you're awesome. You respond so quickly. You're this, you're that. So it does play in my favor. It does work. And I've also come to the realization too, because Pat says it in the book, it's okay to have someone wait up to 24 hours. But after that, they're dead in the water. Yeah. And one thing that I kind of live by, which my wife also helped me too, because I was doing business at 10 o'clock at night, and she was like, who the hell are you possibly talking to at this hour? Right? I was like, oh, I'm just doing business. And then she's like, if they want to work with you, they will be there in the morning. It can wait. If they don't want to work with you, they won't be there in the morning. Period. End of story. And that's allowed me to kind of just learn to put my phone down too.
Yes. I have to admit, I struggle with this, Molly.
Molly, what about you? We want to hear your thoughts.
I struggle with this, Molly. I have to be honest. Because you've got you've got notifications, you've got social media, you've got phone messages, and then you still have clients. And then you still have sales calls. It can be, I struggle with it.
Yeah. And then like I have a wonderful virtual assistant, but the way that he responds to things is different than the way that I respond to things. So people are looking for connection. They want me. They don't want our, template contact from an assistant kind of thing. So there's that. But I also honestly, okay, I'm just going to say honestly so that I can put it out into the universe so someone can solve my problem. I would love to have some sort of, I guess it's a third-party app that would organize my Facebook messages the same way I would with my email, to be able to prioritize, to say, these are the ones that haven't been responded to. These are the ones in a folder that are maybe step 2 in the funnel process, like a way of organizing that.
Isn't that meta business?
No,
Well,
I need an app that can do that. It can color code it, and you can actually send broadcast messages.
Mark, we got to talk. Put it out into the universe, and your answers will be handed to
If
you.
someone can solve this problem for me, I'll be so happy. If I can just find someone to clone me and do all the work so I don't have to do it.
Well, I've been working on hardcore watching of some cloning documentaries, so I might have an answer for you.
For the low
yeah.
price of $500,000, you can clone yourself today.
Hey,
If you're a sheep.
Yeah,
I don't know.
If you're a sheep.
I've seen some videos recently with AI and I think there's a couple of apps out there that will take an image of you, and then all you have to do is input the words, and it will speak and actually move. But it's so generic. We make specific gestures during certain comments, and they don't match up from what I've seen in those AI.
Look,
but
I
you
love
need
AI.
but if you need a clone, hey, I think there's some advancements coming. Jason, you could be a Jason Momoa.
You know what? As much as I love AI, as much as everybody loves AI, like if you look at any movies that have some sort of dystopian world, guess what happens in these movies? In these movies, people eventually come to the realization that they've completely shit the bed, and they long for human touch, which is barely there anymore. So as much as we love these tools, you're not going to build a business strictly just on AI. You're not going to make conversations strictly on AI. You're not going to connect with people strictly on AI. It's not authentic. It's not gonna yield you the results that you want. There's certain fun things, okay, like sure, chat can write a blog for you, Midjourney can craft a couple pictures, fine and dandy. These are what I call the innocent stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're gonna go ahead and scan your face and just send out these bland messages that Mark was just talking about, like,
why?
Eventually you're gonna like in all these dystopian movies, eventually they realize, like, oh my god, human connection and physical touch is actually the real thing. I can't believe, why did it take us 40 years to realize after using AI that AI is not actually the answer?
Oh no.
Watch any movie. That's how it all ends. That's or people die because AI takes over. But
and on that note, let's wrap up today's episode. So thank you all for joining us for this episode of the Business Building Book Club. We will be back next week, 7 a.m. Eastern, on the Visibility Hackers YouTube channel, as well as in the Visibility Hackers Facebook group and on the Mental Marketers page, as well as on Create with a Lefty's channel. We're going back into Superfans by Pat Flynn. So if you haven't picked up your copy, pick it up today, because we're going to dive into section 2. Let me read to you guys a little bit about section 2. Part 2 is now we're going the next step up the pyramid. We are talking about turning our active audience into our connected community. So this one, we've got a few chapters. It's a heavy reading week, but it'll be worth it. So we're going to read chapter 6, which is letting them take a shot. Chapter 7, which is letting them decide. Chapter 8, which is creating a challenge. chapter 9, which is Open the Factory Doors. I am really curious about that chapter.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Cut
also
the
going to
ribbon.
talk
Let's
about
go.
chapter 10, setting stage a gig. Chapter 11, give them a name. Chapter 12, bring them together. And finally, my lucky number, chapter 13, make them shine. So we've got a heavy reading week. Do your homework, work through the exercises from part 1 this week, and we're going to take them up at the beginning of next week. We're going to figure out what worked, what didn't, and what did we learn. So last goodbyes. What do you got to say, Lefty?
She believed she could, so she did. Okay? Those are my last words.
Mark, what about you?
I'm a super fan of Superfans, and I would, if anyone out there is looking to really grow an audience, I would highly recommend this book. So far, it's really taken you from that. Maybe you might be in that stage where you're just trying to start out and you just starting to build an audience, and you're at the point where you're not able to actually get that audience to either opt in or follow you, because I think everybody in this online space is really out here to grow an audience, grow a community, and this is how to do it. And those are the steps we're going through. I hope you follow along with us because it's always great to have you to follow along with us. It's no fun, just doing this alone. That's why I love you guys. I love you guys week after week. I look forward to this time.
Oh, amazing. So my friends, next week we will see you for part 2 of Superfans. Get your copies. You can get them wherever you want. We don't make a commission off of it, but when you get your copy, get the physical copy. There's a link to a complimentary course that, again, will help you deepen your knowledge and understanding and your connection to the one and only Pat Flynn. So without further ado, my friends, let's all wave goodbye.